the flagship show of Tin Pod Radio. Tin Pod is a monthly audiobook chapter series punctuated with exclusive artist interviews between chapters. Join us in the Tin universe for novels, flash fiction, and microfiction from one crazed mind.
Hey guys, I'm Aaron from Little Heroes Comics, and you're listening to Tin Pod Radio. You can catch us at www.littleheroescomics.co.uk.
Good, thank you. Oh my goodness, you've got such a different accent.
Yeah, very, southern, probably.
Yeah, well, I'm from Wales, so I sound quite British.
If you want to start by saying maybe how you got into cosplay.
To be honest, it was something that I've always been really fascinated with changing myself, putting on sort of different personas. I've always been obsessed with that. And it was always like my life goal to have a wig collection and just be able to sort of change my face and things like that. Not that I think there's anything wrong with my face, but I wanted to put on a ton of different personas, I guess. So I was always into that. I used to do closet cosplays before I even knew they were a thing as I was growing up. And then I went to university, which I think in America is called college. I went when I was 18 and I met my now fiance, and he was running an anime, manga and cosplay society. And when he told me what cosplay was, I was absolutely enthralled and immediately signed up, and I've been doing it ever since, about 5 years now. So yeah, that's how I got into it.
You with some of your websites, I've seen where you're makeup artist.
Yeah.
And your cosplays tend to have a lot of makeup from seeing them within them. Is that one of the things you like doing the most?
It's something I've recently got into. When I started doing it, I was just all about, putting on wigs and different clothing and things. It's only this past year that I've started doing full face paint and trying to change my face, and I've realised that that's actually my favourite thing to do. So I think for future cosplays from now on, it's going to be anything that involves a heavy amount of face paints or prosthetics, etc. So I think my whole goal really is just to feel like I'm somebody else. When I'm just putting on like a dress and a wig, etc., I never truly feel like I'm someone else. The more I change my face, the more I feel like I'm somebody else. So, like looking in the mirror and not seeing yourself. I really enjoy that.
Yeah, it's more fully immersive when you have the makeup and everything.
Yeah.
Yes. When it comes to costumes and stuff, are you someone who makes your own costumes, or do you buy a fully made costume?
I make my costumes. Basically, I've got some quite. I would have been fine buying them, but I've got some quite odd proportions. So I learned to sew just because it's easier to sew for my body shape than it was to buy clothes at extortionate prices and not have them fit. So yeah, I make all my costumes.
One of the things I've asked other cosplayers is, what is the thing that you think you're the best at, and what's the thing you think you need to learn a lot more on?
That's a really good question. I don't really think I'm the best at anything, or personally, I don't think I've got that much of a standout skill, actually. I don't know, I'm trying to think.
Well, it's the best for you personally, not best among everybody.
Yeah, I'm not even sure that I've got something that I'm best at personally. I think I'm a work in progress. I feel like I'm just constantly learning what I'm doing. I don't tend to follow tutorials, and I don't tend to try and master something before I start it. Do you know what I mean? I just jump straight into it. I make quite shoddy cosplays and do quite shoddy makeup, and then just slowly improve from there. So I just think I'm a work in progress. I can't think of anything that makes me think that I'm that good at it, to be honest.
Well, I think you're very good.
Thank you.
With it comes like you were talking about jumping into stuff. Do you usually learn the tasks for like each individual cosplay you do? Like if you have to work with this kind of fabric, you didn't learn it overall. You just learned it for that cosplay.
Yeah, I don't learn at all. I don't. I'm actually really bad. I don't recommend doing this at all. But I'm quite an impatient person, and I'm very bad at concentrating. So I don't really try and follow tutorials, or I don't even do makeup tests. Everything I do is pretty much just me winging it, just me jumping in and seeing what happens. So that's why a lot of my old cosplays were really looking like I had a lot of fun in them, but aesthetically they weren't that good at all because I just did it on the day. And for example, my very first iteration of Ursula, I didn't actually know how to put body paint on. I just turned up at the event, tried to put body paint on. It all smeared and went odd, and then I just took it off and was like, well, I'm going to be a tanned Ursula. So, yeah.
One of my favorites looking through your stuff is the Warrior Sally. I think that was very good, and it's very elaborate, the work it put into it. Was that one that took a long time to do?
Yeah, it did. It took about, well, not as long as most cosplayers take to do things. It took about 2 months. That was done for a group. Funnily enough, I'm part of a lot of cosplay pages on Facebook, and there was one for MCM Expo, which is one of the biggest cons in the UK. And someone had posted in there saying that they'd had a warrior group set up, but they needed a warrior Sally. And my favourite thing about Sally is the fact that she's pretty patchwork. I like the fact that she's just compromised of all different sort of materials and patterns and things. So I'd never made armour before. I'd never worn body paint before or anything, but it really appealed to me. So I said I'd do it. And so everyone I cosplayed with that day, because it's like a group of us, I'd never met them before or anything. That was a total just me jumping into something yet again.
Do you use your cosplays more than once, or are they just for specific events that you attend?
Yeah, I do use them more than once. Not all of them. The ones that are comfortable, I use more than once. Some of them, like, I think you can see on my page I cosplayed Esmeralda. Sorry, I just had a hiccup. I cosplayed Esmeralda May Expo, and the corset I wore really didn't fit me, to be honest, and was really uncomfortable. So I'm not wearing that again. If I wear her again, I'll remake her. But I've worn a lot of my cosplays multiple times. But when it comes, the issue I have is whenever I've got a big con coming up, I always think, I'll just rewear something, and then I start thinking, you could make something completely new, and I get really excited, and so I start on something new.
With, like I was talking about, a lot of yours they look very elaborate in a lot of ways, and a lot of work goes into them. Do you have a favorite simple cosplay that you've done before? It's one that you can, like, go to as a simple one? Yes, I do. God, I can't believe it took me this long to think. Hanji from Attack on Titan. Oh. Hanji Zoe. I've worn her multiple times. She actually doesn't fit me right now because I've gained a bit of weight, but I've worn her quite a few times, and I absolutely love cosplaying Hanji. Yeah, I had a chance of getting one of the jackets cheap one time, and I didn't, and I still regret not getting it cheap.
Oh, do you know what? I won that jacket everywhere. I used to work in a pub, and I used to just wear it to work, or if I was going out, because so many people don't actually understand anime references. They just thought it was a cool jacket. Then occasionally you get a stranger sort of come up to you like, oh my god, that's Attack on Titan. So yeah, I've worn that quite a few times.
I'm one of those people, like, I've read Attack on Titan, and I like it, but I'm not like this super fan, but I love all the clothes and stuff that comes with it, and all the merchandise and everything. I just love the designs of all of it.
Oh yeah, the merchandise that you get for Attack on Titan, it's probably the biggest sort of anime merchandise you can get. It's everywhere, and it's so recognisable too. I used to have a Attack on Titan hoodie, and I wore it on a night out in Cardiff, which is capital of South Wales. And I had just strangers coming up to me drunk, just be like, "Oh my goodness, I watch Attack on Titan. How far are you?" And like just nerding out with me. It was so much fun.
Do you attend a lot of conventions?
I attend a couple a year. I really want to attend more next year. I tend to do MCM London, which is I would say the biggest convention in the UK. I do that once or twice a year, and then I do about 2 Welsh cons a year. I would say I probably attend about 4 or 5 a year. Unfortunately, the area I live in, the UK, surprisingly, there aren't that many conventions going on. And it is surprising because I live very close to the capital of Wales. But for some reason, we don't get that many conventions, whereas sort of north of the UK, there's absolutely tons all the time. So that's a bit annoying.
You're one of the few people I've seen that would talk about Sally earlier. You did Jack and Sally, 2 different cosplays, and did them really good, I think.
Thank you. I think my favourite about them was the fact that I designed them. I like doing my own designs.
Is it like you're taking your own take on the character in a way? Like
I really like designing my own costumes. That's something again that I think I've learned this past year is the thing that I really enjoy doing. So funnily enough, I'm trying to do like an Armoured Disney series. I've done an Armoured Ursula, but unfortunately I didn't take enough photos. So because I've put so much work into making her, I'm going to do a photo shoot with her at some point within the next month. But next on my list is Armoured Queen of Hearts, which I'm hopefully going to do for summer next year. I've just discovered I'm really enjoying doing my own sort of designs, and the fact that there's no pressure. So if you want to make something and it doesn't quite go your way, you can just twist it because it's your own design.
With the makeup on some of your characters, like you did a Lady Death, I've seen, and others, the makeup designs have a almost like a Day of the Dead look. Is that an influence that you consciously have done, or is it just naturally happen?
The more recent. I'm actually going to try and stop doing Day of the Dead looks because I feel like I've played it out a bit. Plus, I don't know. I'm not sure if people are too happy that I'm doing that. I know there's a bit of an iffy sort of thing surrounding Day of the Dead looks, like because obviously it is another culture basically. So I'm going to try and step away from doing those sorts of looks. But they were kind of like my introduction into doing body paint and face paint and changing my face. I feel like doing those sorts of looks is how I discovered face paint, basically.
Yeah.
Just changing your face. So it was like my introduction. I feel like I've got a bit better now. I'm able to sort of progress a bit further, and I can venture away from the Day of the Dead look. I do absolutely love Day of the Dead looks. It's just I think I better venture away from them now.
Yeah. When it comes to your cosplays when you do them, do you have somebody help you like do the makeup? Because I've known people who did that and they just can't do it all themselves, so they have help.
Oh yeah. The only time I've ever had help with the makeup is recently, about a month ago, I did Ursula. I don't know if you've seen, and I painted myself purple. And apart from anything, painting myself, like my skin, was really boring. So I had my best friend and my boyfriend were also helping me. They had they had brushes and sponges, and so they were reaching the places I couldn't reach, and they were helping me so it would get done faster because we're in a bit of a rush. But that's the only time I've had other people help me.
When it comes to being with others and doing groups, like you talked about doing one group with the Warrior Sally, do you like doing group cosplays like that?
I absolutely love it. I think it's my favourite. I think there's kind of 2 types of groups that I've done. So there's like group cosplays where everyone is literally playing their character. It's like costume play. So everyone's got into character and it's just fun and it's not taken seriously. And then you have the other sort of groups that I've done, which are more like you get into costume and you kind of just model them and you just do photo shoots all day, which they are really, really fun. I sort of realised very early on that wasn't the type of groups that I was as into. I enjoyed it a lot, but I don't mind not getting perfect photos as long as I'm having fun, really. So, like, I've got a few groups planned for next year. We're doing a Harry Potter group, which is going to be hysterical because we're all going to be in character and nerding out. And we've got a Full Metal Alchemist group going that we're going to do. And we've already been just having an absolute laugh with that group because just casting people. We've got a friend who is absolutely tiny who's in denial about how short she is. We're like, you've got to be Edward. We've just been absolutely laughing our heads off trying to cast it. So it's going to be really fun. I'm really looking forward to it. I don't even know if I might force people to take photos with me and do like poses and things for me just so we can look cool. But it's not going to be my number one priority.
Well, I know that's like with some cosplayers, that's their big thing. They want to do photo shoots and like do that constantly, and that's why they do it. But like you seem to be somebody who's like you like that, but from what you said, like you also like just being there with other people.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with just wanting to do photo shoots primarily. I do always if I've spent ages on my cosplays, I'm always nagging my boyfriend to take photos of me constantly or do mini shoots for me. It's just I think with a few groups I've done in the past, it was really sort of, I think the word I'm looking for is militant. It was quite, it wasn't really, you weren't really in character, you were just kind of posing. And while I really did enjoy it, it was a really great experience. I just realised that wasn't the sort of cosplay that I enjoyed. I had a lot of sort of internal battles where I was like, oh, this isn't really what I used to do with cosplay. Am I getting too into it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I found all the sorry, go on.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I have friends who do photo shoots and stuff, and they told me what they're doing, and they go to a convention and they'll have a photographer there, but they go off from the convention and they're doing hours doing the photos, and I'm like, that's great, you're having fun doing that, but I don't know if I would be into doing that as much. I mean, it's what they love doing, but like it's a totally different thing from somebody that's going to a convention and hanging out and walking around and.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it's just the sort of person you are. Some people, that's what they enjoy, and then some people enjoy different sides of it. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I just learned that wasn't really what I wanted to do. So I had a lot of fun when I was doing tons of photo shoots, but then this past convention, I decided I wasn't going to book any photo shoots. I was just going to hang out with my friends and ask my boyfriend to get a few photos of me, and I did that. And I have barely any photos at all from it. Like my Ursula, I have practically no photos, but I had so much fun that I don't regret it at all.
Yeah,
I think it's just your preference. I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting photos, especially when you've worked so hard on your cosplay. Wanting photo evidence of that, I think that's totally fine. It's just not my sole focus, I guess.
I don't know how things are done at conventions in UK, but here one of the biggest thing is you go to a convention and a lot of people come up to you and like want to get a photo with you and stuff. And I don't know if that happens a lot there, but do you remember the first time when somebody wanted to have their photo taken with you?
Oh, yeah, I do. It was actually only like. Oh no, it was a few years ago. I was thinking of a different one. The first time I cosplayed Edward Elric, and I did a terrible, terrible job of it as well. I only wore one glove because I forgot the other ones. We kept joking that I was like Michael Jackson, Edward Elric. I was terrible, but people wanted my photo. It's when I went to Cardiff Comic Con, and I went by myself. And luckily, I found some of my friends there who I didn't know were going, so I hung out with them. But yeah, so 3 different people wanted my photo, and I felt like a little celebrity. I felt really excited. It was about I think it's about 2-3 years ago. It was amazing. I remember coming home and just telling people and being like, someone wanted my photo. I was really, really happy.
Speaking of cosplays, you might look back into being like, I don't know about that one a little bit. Is there one that you like see the pictures of now and you're like, oh no?
Oh my god, nearly all of them. I had a phase about, I want to say 3 years ago, when I started drawing my eyebrows in, and I literally drew them like 2 giant slugs on my face, and I didn't change my makeup with every cosplay I did. Every cosplay I did the exact same makeup, and I look back at them now, and all I can see are these just giant eyebrows. Like, have you watched Kill the Kill?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay. Well, if anyone who's listening has watched Kill la Kill, Satsuki Korean, I forgot how to say her name, her eyebrows. I had those eyebrows, but for every single cosplay I did. And, like, it's ruined half the photos because I look back and I'm like, oh my God, why did I think that was a good idea? So that is something I look back on and regret. But most of them I just think it's cool because you can do like then and now pictures. And for example, Esmeralda, I've cosplayed her probably over 10 times, wearing like 5 or 6 different versions of her cosplay. And the most recent one, I did a sort of cosplay glow up side by side post on Instagram, and I was really proud of it. So I was quite glad I looked awful before, because it makes me look better now.
Yeah, I mean, it's like people ask me why certain like pieces of writing I still have online, even though it's a long time ago, and I'll admit that it's crap. I'm like, because it's actually good for me to look at the old stuff and look at the new stuff and say, I've actually gotten better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
When you talk about cosplaying, like the learning process, but you don't tend to do like tutorials or anything else like that, is there anything that you've attempted though, and then it just did not work, and you just couldn't get it done?
I can't think of anything specific. I probably will halfway through this sentence. Yeah, I fail at a lot of things. Well, like I said, the first time I tried to put on body paint, and I didn't know how to do it, and I just kind of smeared it, and like as you're painting it, it's coming off, and it was awful. So there was that.
Did you have a cosplay do you ever have a complete one that you just couldn't finish, but it just couldn't finish it?
Oh, I have absolutely tons that I haven't finished. Funnily enough, I cosplayed Satsuki from Kill la Kill. Oh, she was so much fun to cosplay, but I didn't even finish her the day of the con. And I look at photos and I cringe because the skirt is just completely unhemmed. So there's like all pieces of thread hanging down. And because it's a pleated skirt, I made it too big for the bodice. So when I sewed it together, there was like extra pleats that sort of stick out in like weird ruffles. Because I made it about 4 a.m. on the day of the convention. And then I was so determined to finish it. But at the convention, my friend had a scissor blade because she was being, my God, I've forgotten her name now. Ryuko, that's it. She was being Ryuko, and she painted it that day, and the paint hand dried. It was acrylic paint, and I was wearing like this white dress, and I sat on it, and I got all red acrylic paint all over it, and I've just never had the motivation. Because obviously to make it now, I've got to start all over again, and I've never had the motivation to do it. So I really want to cosplay her again, but I put so much effort in the first time, I can't get the motivation to do it again.
Do you have a dream cosplay, like one that you think like I'd love to do that, but it's just going to take so much work to do it?
Oh yeah, I know instantly. Have you ever seen the Book of Life?
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
I want to cosplay Limwete. She's like the one in the giant red dress with the giant red hat. I'm determined to cosplay her, but I genuinely think making that cosplay is going to take me about a year. So that's something I'm going to be starting soon, but I probably won't have it finished till about 2020. But that is my dream.
I have, like I talked about with friends of mine at cosplay, I have everybody from like low level to high level, and the high level people tell me sometimes they'll work on a cosplay for like 2 years, and I'm like, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, I think the most I've worked on is about 2 months. I'm not a very good person at keeping my attention on something, so then I get a new idea, a new thing I want to make, and I just hang the old thing up, and I'm like, oh, I'll do it again at some point, and then I never finish it.
What do you think cosplay is like the best thing that's come out of you doing it?
What's the best thing that has come out of me doing it?
Yeah, doing cosplay.
Oh my goodness, I'm trying to think. I guess friends. I've got some friends that I have made purely through cosplay. The thing about cosplayers, they always have about 30 times more friends than the average person, because obviously everyone kind of knows everyone in the community. And even if all you ever do is say, oh, hi, I like your cosplay, and then soon you're best friends, like, everyone has this sort of shared passion and shared nerdiness, and there isn't a lot of judgment in the cosplay community. In fact, I found the most judgment to come from outside the cosplay community, so from people who don't cosplay, and the ones that tend to say, oh, your costume's not accurate, or oh, you're not the right body shape, or you don't have the right skin colour for this character. But people within the cosplay community, they're all really accepting and they're all really excited, and like, you could be someone who's really, really skinny but wants to cosplay Ursula, or someone who's really overweight who wants to cosplay, I don't know, a skinny anime girl or something, and no one bats an eyelid. They're just like, yeah, go for it. That'll look amazing on you. Or you could have a different skin tone, or you could be a different gender to the gender you want to cosplay, and just no one even thinks twice about it. They're just like, yes, do it, and they get really excited for you. And when you cosplay, they see you as that character, and there's just such a shared sort of excitement and passion that brings people together, and I really, really, really value that. I think it's one of the best things that's ever come out of the cosplay community for me.
Yeah, I agree. Like, of course, any group of people, you'll have, like, some people aren't good in any kind of fandom or whatever. But, like, from what I've seen, the people who are really critical of cosplays for the reasons like you talked about, like, are usually somebody outside of it. It's like the people who criticize cosplay at conventions are like, well, I don't really like cosplayers at comic book conventions. Well, you're not doing it. Well, you don't have to like it. It's not for you, I guess. You know?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I've noticed the only time my friends have really received negativity is when they show off their cosplay to people outside the community. So I've got a few friends that have cosplayed video game characters, and if they sort of post it in a video game forum, that's when they'll get hate, because the majority of the people in that forum don't cosplay. So they're quite critical because they want to see this perfect iteration of their character. Whereas people in the cosplay community, they're just excited that you are cosplaying, basically, and they're excited. Another thing I think that is great that I always say when I've cosplayed someone and someone goes, oh, I wanted to do them, it's like, the great thing about the fact that we all look different and we all are different is that no one does the same character in the same way. So this one character that you love, there's thousands of versions of them out there, because all these different cosplayers are doing their own version or dressing up as them, but they all look different, they all act different, and I just love that. Everyone sort of brings their own personality and their own spin onto the character, and I really, really love that.
Yeah, I agree. Like, for example, of like when I've been to conventions and somebody did Iron Man, you would have everybody from down somebody that used just boxes at their house that they colored to somebody that built like metal armor and stuff, and it's it's like all the levels of it, and it's all really cool and creative.
And you get different personalities with it as well, like people who are more in character, or people who just project their own personality into it, and everyone's different. No one does the same cosplay in the same way, and I think I really love that about cosplay. Every time you do a character, it's your character, it's what it means to you. I really love that.
Yeah, I tend to enjoy doing more casual cosplay, because like the whole big, if doing an elaborate costume, it tends to make me think like, oh, everybody's looking at me, which I tend to not like as much. So I like doing a casual cosplay more than doing like a bigger one. The whole community of cosplaying, I think, is very accepting, and you get like a lot of people will help you and tell you like, oh, this is how you can do this if you ask, and how they'll do that. Like, I don't know if you've heard of like maker fairs.
No, I haven't actually.
Maker fairs were like where people like get together and it's about making stuff, like making electronic stuff or making crafting stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, but they also have quite a few cosplayers come to those conventions, because there's also also like a big steampunk element to them. So you'll
Yeah.
have steampunk cosplayers there, and I just love going to those sometimes. Like whenever our local ones, I go to every year, and they'll have people there that do steampunk Iron Man or steampunk Captain America or steampunk, like there's anime characters, and they'll have a huge amount of cosplayers there. And I just love how cosplaying can fit into a lot of things. There's also like a museum near us, a Japanese museum, and every year they have an anime festival.
Oh, wow.
So you get a huge amount coming there, and it seems like cosplayers can almost go to anywhere and stuff. Like they can go to historical events, or they could go here, and I think it's just a very creative thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. You can bring cosplay into so many aspects of your life, and whether it's like casual cosplay, low-key cosplay, the point is really that you are sort of becoming that character, even if it's just outwardly and not inwardly. You know, however you choose to do it, you're showing a love for that character. It's like the ultimate geeky thing to do, really. The ultimate dedication.
That's why I don't get when people go after cosplayers at conventions and they're like, well, you know, quote unquote, they're not real fans of something. Oh, yeah. And I'm like, that's the ultimate fan. If you can spend 2 years working on a costume for something, I don't care if they never read the book or anything, that's a huge fan of that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. Oh, I have this conversation with my partner actually quite a few times, because not often, but for example, if my friends are doing a group cosplay and I don't really know, and I'm always the fandom or whatever, I'm always quite hesitant to join in. And he's like, you don't have to know the ins and outs of the fandom. You don't have to know everything. You just have to have respect for it. You know, you just have to respect it, and you just have to have fun. That's all it is, really.
Yeah.
I cosplayed Mistress Death, and I've not really read that much Deadpool. I've watched the movie, I've read a couple of comics, but I'm not really up to date. But I just love that character so much that I decided, oh, sod it, I'm going to do it anyway.
Well, that's a character in a book where I think it was, nobody wants to make this connection, but I think it's there. Like, when Deadpool was first becoming big, at conventions you would see Lady Deadpools, you would see all kinds of Deadpool mashups, and then they started doing that in the books. They started having Lady Deadpool, they had Zombie Deadpool, they had all these different Deadpools, and I think that was an influence from cosplay, because the big mashups they were doing of all that you tended to see later in the books, because, like, that's one of the things I actually love. I love mashup cosplays. I just think they're so creative.
Oh, yes. I think it's probably my favourite genre of cosplay too, to be honest.
Yeah. Is there one that in particular that you would like to do?
A mashup cosplay? Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I guess the things that I tend to do are armoured cosplays, which is kind of a mashup, but not really. I haven't really thought much about doing a mashup. I love seeing other people do them. Actually, I really like to do an Attack on Titan mashup, but I'm not sure what other fandom. But there's so many sort of opportunities with Attack on Titan, because it's everyone wears the same sort of uniform, and it's such an iconic uniform, and there's so much fun to be had with something so iconic. So I'd love to do a mashup of Attack on Titan and one of my other fandoms. Maybe Harry Potter Attack on Titan. Yeah. That'd actually be pretty cool.
Well, a lot of people...
I've got ideas now.
Yeah, a lot of people do that when it's almost like the zombie fight effect. If you could add a zombie anything, like you could do it with like something like Attack on Titan, or even Harry Potter is just place another character in that world almost.
Oh yeah. Oh god, we used to do it with Harry Potter all the time. Just write our own characters in or something. That's so much fun.
Yeah. Like where I live, I'm close by where the Wizarding World is in Florida, in the U.S., and like you tend to see a ton of Harry Potter cosplays around here. One thing, you can go there, and if you have the money, you can buy like really good robes and everything like that. That type of cosplay, I think, is really cool too. Do you think cosplay is something that, well, it's been around longer than people think it has? Like, people tend to think it's like a modern thing, and it really, in the 60s and 70s when they had sci-fi conventions, people cosplayed. But do you think it's something that's going to be still around for a long time?
Oh yeah, I definitely think so. I think cosplay's sort of going to infiltrate daily life more. It's a bit, when I think about it, the sort of, sorry, I'm trying to get my words out. the thing that I'm really into as well is drag.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they have the same sort of motives and feeling behind it. People who cosplay and people who do drag are like creating personas for themselves and pushing boundaries and also giving themselves confidence and becoming performers. And I think these sort of ideas are sort of not becoming more and more normalized as the years go on. Like people who are just creating personas for themselves or dressing unconventionally, etc. I feel like this is something that as the years go on, maybe when I'm an old grandmother or something, we'll just have people who just do it in every day of their life, sort of I'm trying to think of how to word it. I know what I'm trying to say, but I'm trying to think of how to word it. I just feel like as the years go on, more and more people are going to be open to the idea of creating new personas for themselves and dressing unconventionally and cosplaying in daily life and doing that.
Well, I know along those same lines, kind of like people talk about using casual cosplay as almost a protest. Like I can't wear what I want at a job, but I can do a casual cosplay and nobody will know I'm actually dressed up as like a Disney princess or something like that. Yeah, which
I've worn Hogwarts uniform to work before.
Yeah, I mean, people don't know that you're actually doing a cosplay in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I used to do it when I was a lot younger, when I was in my teenage years, and no one ever knew that I was secret. I didn't even know I was cosplaying, but I was trying to, because I didn't know cosplay was a thing. I was wearing clothes that my favourite characters would wear, or even me and my friend used to role play together. We used to we created a medieval world and we created our original characters and we used to cosplay them in day-to-day life, and only we would know that we were cosplaying them, and it was just fun. It was, even though I was me, I felt like I was putting on a different personality or a different sort of, I don't know, a different persona.
Well,
and I go on.
I was just saying, like, I know, like, the term Disney bound. I don't know if you've heard of that. Like,
Yes.
yeah, well, that come about because, like, Disney doesn't really allow you to dress up at Disney World stuff. Like, you're not supposed to because they want you to take pictures with their characters there and stuff like that, so they don't want you dressing up. So people started doing basically casual cosplay and going to Disney. So it's something that's been around for a while, and I think with, like, more, like, t-shirts and jackets and stuff that are actually cosplay stuff, like, some of the hoodies now and stuff like that are basically, like, a cosplay jacket with a mask. They have them.
Yeah.
So it is influencing our culture in a large way.
Yeah, definitely. In the UK, we've got a shop. We've got quite a few shops. We've got a shop called Primark that is pretty much about as cheap as you can go for a clothes store. And they've recently introduced a Harry Potter range that is literally Harry Potter cosplay, but for day-to-day wear, a lot of it. And people who don't even know what cosplay are so excited. What cosplay is, sorry. So excited to see Harry Potter and just dressing up as their characters without even knowing that they're cosplaying, and I just think that's really cool.
It's when you look at like movies or TVs or books or anything like that, does your brain automatically go like, oh, I could do that, or I would like to do that?
Yeah, all the time, yeah. Sometimes if my friends and I are watching a new anime series, we automatically, within like the first episode, we assign characters to each other. We'll probably never cosplay them, but as the anime's going on, like as the episodes are going on, we're looking at each other like, oh my god, I can't believe your character did that, or falling more in love with our characters, etc.
Yeah, it's like us when we go to use clothing stores. We'll automatically think, oh, this shirt could be good for this, or this could be good for this, and it gets your mind going about that. But before I let you go and stuff like that, do you have anywhere online you like to point anybody to or anything?
Sorry, can you repeat that, please?
Oh, do you have a website or anything you would like to point anybody to before we go?
Oh, like what,
Instagram.
my website?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I've got an Instagram, which you know, called Queenieshah, which is basically Queen and then half of my name. where I post all my cosplay pictures to, and I'm trying to do more websites like that, like DeviantArt, CosplayRun, etc. I'm not very good at updating those, but Instagram, I'm always on Instagram. I've got a little bit addicted to that, so if anyone wants to see the cosplays that we've been talking about, they can check out my Instagram.
Yeah, and there's quite a lot of good ones on there, so people should check that out.
Thank you.
And
Thank you very much.
And I'll put a link to that in the descriptions when this episode is posted. And
brilliant! Thank you for having me. I was really flattered actually that you requested to have me. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, you have a good day, and again, thank you for joining me.
You too. It was lovely talking to you.
Bye.
Don't make me